This is the Bar Stewards Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
Hello and welcome to the Bar Stewards Enquiry Weekend Podcast. My name's Lee Keys and joining me tonight are three fine judges of the equine variety. John Lane, good evening, John.
Evening, mate.
Good evening. Andy Richmond, good evening.
Good evening.
And last but not least, he's suffering being a Chelsea fan at the moment, but it's Jack Veach.
Good evening, Lee.
Yes, good evening. Let's hope your selections are better than the goings on at Stamford Bridge on this show. Right, without further ado, this is the best betting round before we get on to the preview at the end of the televised races. This is where we get our three best bets. Regular listeners will know it's 1, 2 and 3 points. So if you don't, you do now. These are our best bets over the weekend. Hopefully we'll certainly give you some winners. So without further ado, Jack Veach, I'm coming to you to kick us off this weekend.
So I found it pretty tough fare this weekend, Lee, if I'm being frank, but we've managed to find a few. So the first of which goes in the 3 o'clock at Ripon, and the horse is Victoria County of Archie Watson. Now, I know this is one that John's written up positively in his notes, and equally is one that caught my eye last time out at Yarmouth in what looked like a half decent maiden that day. I thought he shaped pretty well in the race, finished the race off pretty nicely, and in what looked like a pretty above average race, if I'm being frank. He reopposes Natsa again, who was well backed favourite last time, but isn't a horse I really like particularly. Don't think this looks particularly a very strong race. Bleak, who's gone in as the short fav of the shirt, just looks a bit of a boat, if I'm being honest. Highland Reel, obviously step up in trip's going to be beneficial, but I'm not really concerned about him. 3 Yorkshiremen, I think he's pretty much shown what he can do. He should have won the race last time out and wasn't able to, so I'm not too concerned about him. They could obviously third run, they could go down the handicap route with this one, but I think he's good enough to win a maiden. This doesn't look like the strongest race. He'll handle the ground, so yeah, I'm quite happy with that as a 1 point win.
1 point win indeed, yes. I agree with much of your analysis. The shirt won it with Mandobi last year. Obviously, Mandobi looked a class act for the shirt in Handicap Company. I don't think Bleak going to be a Mandobi. So Jack there, we're going with John's paddock notes on Victoria County at 7-1. Good stuff, Jack. Kick us off for the round. Andy Richmond.
I'm going to go to Punchestown. A bit of left field for you there. The Marathon Handicap Chase, rated up to 145. You've got a couple of refugees from the Grand National here, like Enjoy Delan and Velvet Elvis. I don't really fancy those two. I'm a bit worried about Sir Bob, but the one I'm going to go with for the 1 pointer is History of Fashion. He's a very lowly weighted horse. He was staying on second last time out in the Leicester National, potentially very well handicapped. He represents the Pat Farley stable. They won this 2 years ago. He's tried this trip a couple of times. They tried it in the Ida with him, where he was really well backed, and they only got as far as the 6th. They pulled him up in the Scottish National when they tried it in that, but I think he can win a sort of prize like this. They've obviously been bringing him along quietly, and it's the first time they've tried a marathon trip this year. They've got him back down to a good mark, and I think a point on History of Fashion in the long distance slog at 3:10 at Punchestown will be right up my street. So a point on History of Fashion in the 3:10 at Punchestown, and I probably will obviously save on Sir Bob, who I think makes a little bit of appeal in that race as well, if you are playing along with me.
Where the hell do they run the Leinster National?
Leinster National.
Leinster, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Is it Limerick? Oh no, Leinster. That's Listowel, is it?
No, I used to run it.
Naas, is it?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah, obviously. Fucking hell.
Munster, they have all sorts over there.
So where's the Kerry National?
Cork, innit?
Nah, that'd be Munster.
No, that'd be Munster.
Oh, okay.
Fuck no, need icy.
Yeah, icy. Educators.
Yeah.
Educate us full 6-1 for Andy for his pointer to kick us off. Cheers, Andy, mate. Let's hope that goes well. I'll have had 4 gins while that's been run and two bruschettas with some chicken liver pate.
And let the dog in as well.
Yeah, while that's been run. Jonas, I'm coming to you.
It's a 3 o'clock written.
Oh.
Retaliate.
Asthmatic horse time. Where's Nev when you need him?
Much as I respect the shirt toss, which I think when he goes up properly in trip will be a serious betting proposition, because this fits the modus operandi of running this horse at a place that probably won't suit, because he's been a bit keen on both starts so far.
Yeah.
And I think he'll drop him in tomorrow with the excuse of teaching him to settle a bit better.
Yes.
And that'll make it tough when this thing leads all the way, because I think this will be hard to pass. And while the shirts might plug on and get past him, you wouldn't bet your bollocks on 3 Yorkshiremen going past anything, would you?
No, he's got a bit jadey, John, hasn't he? Yeah. I think he likes to gallop with them, not.
So I think this definitely worth the 1 point, and if he pings the lids and gets to the front, I would probably be topping up a bit.
Yes, like you often like an in-running play, don't you? Just have a bit more on, and then maybe bail out.
And bail 2.5 out. Yeah.
Bail, Gareth. Yeah. So that's John going with Jack for the Claxon bet to kick us off on round 1 at 8-1 for John. Jack can have 7s. John 8s because I need him to beat Quentin.
How the fucking hell do you work?
Give him 10.
Somebody back Jack.
No, 8-1 for you, John. 8-1 for you.
Yeah, I'm just saying, somebody back Jack.
No. I mean, Kieran's backed me. Quentin's backed himself, and obviously, we can't have that. I'm not sending. It's not sending money to him. Disgraceful.
I'm going to lay myself after this weekend, I think.
No, this is the thing. I set off bad last year, and I ended up with biggest points profit total, but I couldn't beat Andy's return on investment. Andy had a terrific return on investment last year, and that's what won it. And
Kieran reckons it should be points anyway.
No. Well, I know. Well, you would do, but then we've got a big advantage, haven't we? Because we tip every show, so we've got more
disadvantage with us.
Yeah, it is mostly.
We can be able to quit as a winner.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, I'll finish the round off with a fairly boring. This is the boring selection of mine, really. Goes in the 5-10 at Doncaster tomorrow, and it's with the Andrew Balding horse Totnes. 5-2 generally available. This horse went off odds on for a handicap at Wolverhampton last time. It just didn't pan out. He was on the dead rail on the inside. It just didn't work out for him. Totnes was very impressive the time before, in a good time as well. And I think, that's why obviously it went off at odds on all the time. Merchants were screaming this one. So it didn't work out. And 5-2, I don't think we'll be there tomorrow. But it's a bit dull as a kind of a play that most people could probably work out. So 5-2 Totnes for me to finish the round in golf club bore fashion. Next round, John, I'm going to swing it straight back round to you.
In keeping with the seriously boring theme, this one is an extremely boring selection. It's in the 305 at Leicester, and it's Al Mubea.
Yes.
Fourth in the Lincoln, reads pretty well in the context of this race. Won't be inconvenienced by the ground getting any worse. I thought it was free enough in the Lincoln, so you can expect some improvement on the bear farm with the freshness of him. The stout horse in this race is actually expected to have rather a good season. Apparently, there had a lot of problems with this last year and didn't dare risk him on turf early. And this should be a bit of a prep, because he could do with quicker ground,
right,
I'm told. But definitely want to keep an eye on this season.
Good stuff, John. For future references there. Risk, John, 5-4 for Almobile for your 2 points.
We'll have to do, won't it?
Yeah. You're playing the the run through the covers there, aren't you? Just taking the single with that one.
Yeah.
So that's me and John boring everybody's life to bits as usual. Andy Richmond, to you.
Yeah, let's have a bit of a punt on something or a couple, because I'm going to split this. The 5:30 at Punchestown. Nice 20 runner, 2 mile 3 handicap hurdle. So if we can crack one of these Irish races, if Mullins runs 6 in it, and I'm going to go with one of his, although I'm really frightened of one of the others. And the other one I'm going to go with is a horse from the Brazil yard who's had a good yard, a really good week. And I'm hoping that this one will do what Fast and Slow did and go one better than he did at the festival. And the horse I'm talking about for the first of the selections is the Coral Cup runner-up, An Epic Song, who got done by Langer Dan in the Coral.
Yeah.
He's only £2 higher. Martin Brazil, I think he's a wonderful target trainer. I'm pretty sure he had the Coral Cup very much in mind for An Epic Song, and I'm pretty sure he had this race in mind as well. So I'm going to go with a point on An Epic Song, and out of the sextet from the Mullins camp, I'm going to go with the Townend course and distance, the one that Paul Townend's on the course and distance winner, a horse called Heia, Heia, ran 5th in the Galway hurdle last year, came back with a 7th of 19 at Fairyhouse last time out, looked a bit of a tune up for this, off a mark of 134 last time out, travelled really strongly throughout the race, and just looked like a horse who blew up, basically. I thought she was definitely, I'd have noted down as one to know with that under her belt. And they've just brought her back to slightly shorter, which I think will probably suit her as well. So I'm going to split the stakes there, split the 2 points, point on each, An Epic Song and Heia.
Yep, Andy loves a Raymond van Barneveld, and he's going there with 9-1 Epic Song and 8-1 Heia. An Epic Song broke my heart, as did Fast or Slow at the Cheltenham Festival, but that's me.
Did you back Fast or Slow the other day, though?
No. I backed them both at Cheltenham for big money as well, like really to win chip shop amounts, and I just couldn't breathe on the floor. The way it goes. Okay. Thanks, Andy, for those, and I wish you well with those. And I'll probably be back in An Epic Song at least in that. So yeah.
There are two that if you're not looking a bit like, I think there's two that will certainly trade well if you're not going for the straight win. I think you'll definitely, if you want to, stick the stakes in at halfway to at least get your stakes back, I think they'll both travel really strongly in the race.
Good stuff. And Mullins has certainly got the juice out this week, from what I'm seeing. Okay, to finish the round. Well, no, not to finish the round. Sorry, that's rude because Jack's coming after me. Storm Fox is my 1 point each way bet in the 8:15 at Doncaster. Tim Easterby, trained runner, Phil Dennis in the saddle. This horse has shaped very, very well on all 3 starts, really. And
in for 6.
Yes, he made his debut over 5.5 at York, and he caught my eye, just staying on real nice, just late. And that form in itself is way above 63. I'd put that form around 70 on debut. And as we know, Tim's just aren't anywhere near ready on debut. So then came the run at Beverley over 5, which I've got to say was a tad disappointing, but it was dropping back to 5, which, although it's a stiff 5, and it did get a little nudge out the stalls, but it left me a little bit disappointed. So I was interested to see it at Nottingham, and I thought it shaped really well for quite tender handling under Dennis, really. And then when I read on the BHA site that the horse ran partially shod, so I don't know if that's a thing with a horse, or whether it's spread a plate and they couldn't be asked, to sort it out at the start and just ran anyway. So it's obviously not ran on 4 shoes last time out at Nottingham. And so 63 is very, very appealing. And this is a monster price, 16-1. Absolutely. I would have this about 11-2. It's miles out, literally should be up there. As we know, Tim's need a pipe opener as well. And although Tim's not hit flying form yet, he will do soon. Whether this was one route...
It's imminent.
Yes, it's coming. Whether it's May or sort of early mid-May or whether it's now, we don't know. But I'm chancing this at 16s for 1 point each way.
It's coming as sure as like if you're like 11 and a half minutes into the bar now, isn't it? and the nurses just took her overalls off.
Good God.
You get further than most then, John.
Well, I like a good story to it,
I'm sure you've got a camera in my living room, John.
I'm not just in it for the art.
As usual, it descends into Scott.
There's the clean rating gone.
Apple Clean's gone again. We appealed and got it back, and it's gone. Anyway, Jack Veach, finish round 2 off, please.
Yeah, continuing the theme, another boring one for me, unfortunately. I've had to go all the way to Sunday as well because I'm just, struggle to find anything tomorrow, if I'm being honest. So off to Weatherby in the 305, and it's a horse you'll know, Lee, because I think you put him up on here before, Cresta de Vega.
Yeah.
So I thought this was, a reasonable novice. I know you've just spoken about Happy Tim, and they might well be coming into form. And you're probably right that he's had his pipe opener, this one, Mahanakun. Probably butchered that, but yeah, equally so. I wasn't overly impressed with him last time out. You've got the O'Meara horse. Yeah, it didn't look the most straightforward. So I don't worry about him too much. The same with O'Meara's, who's run a bucket load of times, and I think this one should improve for the switch to turf more than anything. That's the main angle. I had a big bet the day that you put him up, Lee, at Lingfield, and he very, very nearly got there. But another one for the pain. Last time out, pretty disappointing actually. Went off again, well back Fav, but you can forgive him that really. He's been off the track for 14 months. You often get kind of second run bounce, so I'm happy to put that one aside. And I like the fact they've just persisted with him really, and obviously the owners don't really fuck about, so I'm quite happy to give him another go here. Obviously got no prices. I'm not expecting him to be a big price, hence the boring selection, but I hope that the last run might have put off a few punters and we get at least something for our money. I think anything kind of around 6-4 mark would be nice enough for me, and pretty confident 2-point win selection. It'll go forward from 6, and that's what you want to be doing around here, and I think he'll take a lot of beating.
Good stuff. Just a question then, right?
Yeah.
What price would you want? So this is, I think we should do it. Like if you've got a Sunday selection and they're not priced up, let's say, would you be happy at 5-2 if it's 5 or 9-4 or 2-1, and then if it's not that, you can go Betfair SP, that sort of proviso on your.
I'll be delighted anything 2-1 plus, but I was happy to just row in with SP, to be honest. To be fair.
Okay, all right. Betfair SP. Are you happy with that? Yep.
Yeah, good.
Betfair SP, and just a lesson there, folks, in how to say eloquently that the horse didn't look straightforward, said Jack. John says it looks cunty. That's the south and the north divide. They're right in audio, in stereo sound. Got the faces for TV. Right, so we come on to me then for the start of the maximum bet round. And I am very, very keen on this. And it goes on Sunday. Like I said, Saturday's garbage for me in terms of opportunities. So I'm off to Sunday, where we go on the Sky Bet Sunday Series races. We love these, don't we? ITV for some lucky 15s flying. And the one I'm going for is in the 6:15 race on a session of David and Nicola Barron. This horse for me is, again, a wrong price, 9-1 available. Betfair, Paddy, etc. If you look last season, the horse was running off perches between 89, 96, 95, 93. This horse over course and distance beat Guido off 89, and Guido is now rated in the 90s. Guido was off 83 that day. And I want you to do me one thing, whether you back this horse or not, is watch the 2 runs before the last run. Watch the Chelmsford run and watch the Sutherland run. Complete float-ups at Sutherland, Chelmsford. And then last time over, he doesn't quite get a mile, this horse. So, and it was still there at the furlong pole in that Lingfield finals day handicap off 86. So it didn't run as bad as what you might have thought. And so back to 7, back to the scene of the crime. It's finished 4th and 1st here from 2 runs and only got beat half a length when it got beat. And it's off 84. Which is absolutely criminal in terms of marks. It's still got all its ability, because I've watched the float-ups prior to the last one at Lingers. So 9-1 is wrong. This should be fav, round about 9-2, I would say. So 9-1. I'm going each way wanker, because I just think, they're competitive races, these, and you get 4 places with all firms. So 1.5 points each way, 9-1 on a session. Nice bet. Andy Richmond.
Well, We'll keep the theme going with the jumpers. None of this flat stuff. By the way, I still haven't recovered from looking up a Cleveland steamer from John's between north and south. Jesus Christ! There's some weird people up in Middlesbrough, I can tell you that. But talking of Middlesbrough, just a slight digression. If you haven't read Bob Mortimer's autobiography, it's well worth a read because it's very, very funny.
Love Bob Mortimer.
His book's really, really good. Anyhow, slight digression. I'm going to go 3-pointer in the Whitbread. I still call it the Whitbread, although it's had a load of names, isn't it? This race.
He calls it the Whitbread.
Yeah,
after his permanent pronunciation.
1957. This was first race. It's been at the races, Betfred, and now the old Port Vale Gold Cup. It's had a few DQ'd winners as well. I reckon there's 4 that we've had DQ'd as well. So the stewards might have to get out of the lunch club early. Anyhow, hang on, Andy. Some right bastards in there, and they're in this, wandering around not running. It was when Inrillo was in there he took out dear old Kitty's Light, who has found his form of late, hasn't he? Now, when he ran in, Kitty's Light ran in this last year, it was off a 21-day break. Can he do it off, a 7-day break this time? I respect the horse, and he did win well last week. He jumped an awful lot better last week than he had when he won the Ida, when he took every fence with him. But the horse I'm going to go for, full disclosure here, I did actually back this horse about a couple of weeks ago at a bigger price, but I still think there's a bit of value in him here. Revels Hill for the Fry Boy. I do like this horse. I think they saved him for this, and with old Shark not running Hewick, it means that Revels Hill is in the handicap of 10 stone 6. You tend to need a lower weight in this as well. Haven't been many sort of high weights that have won this. I think this has been his target. He ran here really well here on Tingle Creek Day. He's a second season chaser. Just looks the type for this. I think they've kept him relatively fresh for this. His detractors will probably point to the fact that he finished 4th in the London National at Sandown here when he ran here before, but he got hampered badly on the first circuit and just couldn't get into the race on that. The winner went on to win the Haydock Grand National Trial. All his form stacks up if you look through it. He's run 3rd to a well handicapped Cap du Nord before. I think they've saved him for this. He ran well at Exeter last time out. He was 20 lengths clear of the rest, even though he got beaten. I like the weight, 10 stone 6. I'm happy to have 3 points on him to win this Revels Hill.
On the nose, Andy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go that for the compo because you need someone to beat Quintin. So,
yeah.
Quintin's not even in front.
Yeah. But if you wanted to play each way at the available price, I believe there's some 6, 7 to 1. I think there's 6 places. I wouldn't put anyone off having a 1.5 each way on him because I find it very hard to see him out the front 6. Do like this horse. I think there's a load in here that just don't impress me. If there was one I was worried about, it would be T Clipper, but I'm just not sure. I saw John's tweet earlier about the ground, and I did ask Mr. Cooper the question this morning when he was just off the walk the course. The thing that confuses me is with the if the hurdles are on the flat track, as they always are. So if they abandoned or cancelled, more correctly, the race in there today, how is it going to be? What's the going going to be like there tomorrow on that track? Not quite sure. But I'm not so worried about betting in the chase races tomorrow. I think it'll probably be sort of good to soft because it always rides better. But the hurdles track, I'm just really confused about the going there. But hey ho, that's what you get when you do loads of watering, don't you?
Exactly, and watering throughout last summer, etc. Cooper Clark puts absolutely tough. 13-2 for Andy. On the nose for Revels Hill, the unexposed stayer. And coming to you, John, like before you nap, just going on about the Cooper Clark, he's a bit of a cunt, isn't he?
Well, you'd get Greta Thunberg onto these fuckers, wouldn't you? Because they're just destroying the environment, aren't they? You know, I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's telling you to save water, and here they go, they're just sloshing it down like a man with no hands.
Here's a question. Do you reckon, I know we're a bit off topic here, but do you think today could have gone ahead if he weren't dicking about with the watering?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And Sandown recently, the Friday and Saturday meeting has been primarily to get the Whitbread on, as in to make the Whitbread Day safe. That's why every year we sort of, unless we get like very warm, hot weather, we ended up with like absolutely soup ground for the Friday.
I'm quite pleased it didn't go ahead, to be honest, because I didn't want that good filly raring about on bad ground.
No, Infinite Cosmos. Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing with mixed meetings nowadays. It never used to be a problem because they had flat and jumps on the same day.
Plus, I think we'll get a bet now at the alternative target.
Yeah, the Musidora.
Yeah.
yeah. Which me and John will be there. There you go. John, coming to you then for your Max.
Right. I've exercised extreme patience with this horse. And when I say extreme patience, I mean extreme patience. I've waited 20 months for everything to drop into place here. 20 months.
20 months?
Yes, you need to go back 2 EVA meetings. to the nursery at the EVA meeting. When I would punt on Papa Cocktail went astray.
Hey, there he is.
And since then, we've had a whole litany of emails exchanged with Tom Clover. Well, fuck Tom Clover, because Stella's done the hard work, as she did last autumn, getting him down to a lovely mark. Now, we've got a nice draw up the middle. We've got the distance that we want. We've got plenty of pace on. This is it. We were backing him off 83 over this distance at York. He's off 67. Fix bayonets and fucking charge. 3 points win.
Where's he running, John?
John, do you want to clarify what race he's in?
205 Haddock.
205 at Haddock. John absolutely, this is a balls busting bet for John here. The 5-1 generally available. I can see John absolutely each way, all in Max.
Not even each way, no. It's not necessary.
No, on the nose. 3 points straight away, 5-1 for John. This wins, he says. This wins. I'm going to use that as on the Twitter feed. I'm going to say John says this wins.
You can say John says this pisses up.
Please gamble responsibly.
Yeah, fuck that.
Get more on.
I'm going to say we're going to have to.
We're all getting banned. Fuck it.
We're going to have to.
Cards out, no fucking lot in. Second mortgage if you can get it in time.
Yeah.
Fortune finance a lot. Fuck them. Don't pay it. Loaded. Fuck them all.
I'll just tell her I'll max out the credit card and tell them I'm going to do it all on the stock market.
Absolutely.
That's all right.
30 large deposit. I know, in a day. Incredible.
Never was it better summed up by our colleague and friends, Mr. Malvo's comment at the end of his part this week, with Andrew Bayer's comment saying, if you read the Wall Street Journal, you're a respected person. I'm slightly paraphrasing. If you read the Daily Racing Form, you're an absolute bum, aren't you? But which industry has been bailed out more by the taxpayer? There you go. Sums it up in a nutshell.
Absolutely. That we don't even need to do a sermon. Just go with them 2 lines exactly.
Don't even do it. Absolute. I've never. You've got to now think that the majority, 99.9% of MPs are as thick as fucking mince.
I agree. I think the standard is terrible, and that's why we're here in this mess. So don't forget to tune in on Sunday, because Abby McGregor's joining us again for some straight talking on the sermon to join myself, John, and Chris. Right, Jack, finish the round off for us, please.
Yeah, so I've had to go to Sunday again, Lee, but it's a very good race in all fairness, and it's the 250 at Longchamp. The
Prix Gannet.
Yeah, what I would probably call the race of the weekend. Andy might disagree, but that's each to their own and all that. And again, it does continue the boring theme, but I'm gonna fuck about a bit here, Lee, and you'll probably have to bear with me for the figures and stuff. But there you go. So the main selection is a pretty straightforward one, and that's Bay Bridge. I think obviously he was potentially going to run today at Sandown, but they probably didn't want to give £7 to Adiyar. Obviously that got called off anyway, so this was probably the better option. I just think, I know it sounds strange when you're talking about a 5-year-old, but I just think this horse has still got improvement in him. Essentially, I mean that Champion Stakes at the back end of last year. You look at the form of that race. It was a really, really strong renewal. Dubai Honor, who finished in 6th or 7th, has come out and won I know it was a tin pot Aussie Group 1, but he's probably the only horse who's come out of the race. But I think this is a genuine art contender. He's 2 from 2 fresh, and I think that the main angle is that I really want to take on Verdeni. I think he's going to need this run. I'm not liking anything coming out of the Arc from last year. I think that was a proper slog, and obviously he ran a belter that day. But I've looked at a couple of Rouget's sort of main stable contenders this season, and Valimi, who's another Aga Khan horse, needed his first run, then bolted up second time out. There's a couple of others that I can't remember off the top of my head, but I don't think this is going to be a massive target for him, and I think they're going to back him into favourites. So I know we've only got, I think it might be Billy Mountains that have put Bay Bridge in at 9-4 so far, but for me he's a clear favourite in the race, and I think he'll take a heck of a lot of beating. And the fuck about element is that I'd like to have 2 points on Bay Bridge, and the third point is going to be a straight forecast with Place de Carousel to come second. Sure. I really liked her at the back end of last year, so she won the Opera, which I think was again a pretty decent renewal. I think she's a filly on the up. Obviously gets a few pounds from the Colts and the Geldings on this occasion, and yeah, I just really want to take on Verdeni in this particular race, and I think that's your 1-2. So yeah, a boring selection potentially, but I think you stick Bay Bridge and my 2 point in a double, get the forecast on, and fuck the affordability checks essentially.
Yeah, absolutely, Choco. I like it. Bay Bridge. I'm going to let you have the 9-4 actually, because I think it's a disgrace that bookmakers haven't priced up a Group 1.
Yeah, it's a fucking Group 1.
It's clearly like, entries have done, and Esther obviously doesn't run. It's 150,000 to the winner. It's a huge race. This is like a huge race in terms of the season for a lot of flat horses. Like a lot of people will be sort of keeping their eye on this, and I can't believe that like you said, there's only hills that have priced it up. Incredible. So you're getting the 9-4 because you deserve it for covering the race, really, because it deserves covering. That's the premium race of the weekend, the Prix Gagné. Okay, chaps, we come on to the preview part of the show. This is where we go through some of the TV races. We'll do Sandown first because this might be swift. Yeah, John's come back with his turkey drumsticks out at Freezer, and we'll get on to the 105 at Sandown. Where
Choc actually.
A Choc eye.
Yeah.
You greedy bastard. Right, 105 Sandown, under control, 9-2. Favourite for JP. I was a Killer Lowen fan because I think this horse just holds a bit back for himself. And this is the horse that I think Paul Nicholls really has got going right. Running at Taunton, Ludlow, Wincanton, and I think this horse will be even better on a stifle pill because this horse just idles really, doesn't do a lot, and I like that. So for Harry Cobden, who I love for the minimum trip over, I think he's a good rider at that distance. So over Stonehands on the fab, 5-1 Killer Loan for me. Andy Richmond, educate me.
I don't know. It's not. I mean, the first thing you got to work out, and this race might help you a bit, is what the hell the going's going to be like, because they're not moving these hurdles off the flat track. And from what the interview I saw today with Mr. Cooper Clark, interviewed by Matt Chapman, it was, and he said there were patches of almost false ground on the flat track. So how are they going to get round them tomorrow? I've got no idea. What the ground's going to be like, I've got no idea. I should be trying to get some idea from the yeah.
I'm wasting on it there.
Sorry, Andy. Oh dear. It's that Choc ice.
It is the chocolate. Yeah. What make of chocolate? Is it dark or milk chocolate, John?
It's neither. It's caramel. You know the Cadbury's caramel bars that they brought out? Well, they do Choc ices now, and they're fucking amazing.
We need a sponsorship off the back of that.
We actually do.
That does sound good. I would be erring on the side of something that likes the slop. Iberico Lord, one of Henderson, sort of struck my eye on that particular one. But to be honest with you, I'd be pleading the fifth on this and just taking a look and seeing what the ground's like.
Yeah, I agree. I agree about the ground. I think you've got to, probably.
You don't have to have a bet. I mean, even if you knew what the ground was, the race is difficult enough as it is. There's some nice types in it. I agree with you about Killer Low, and Iberico Lord has got form on deep ground. The others, I've just done a quick run on them here. General Madrano and Bo Balco are the other two that really have form on what we could call what we think is going to be deep ground. But beyond that, I ain't got a clue.
No. Jack, John, anything to add?
Kansas to Burley, Jelly Dale Mob. By Martha Lane gets plenty of slot winners. Horse is in good form. No weight on its back, 10-8, 12-1. That'll do, mate.
Yeah, he's done it. He's all right, this lad, off this mark. Yeah. Jack?
Yeah, not from me, Lee, on this one. I've got a couple of Sandown opinions, believe it or not, but not this race.
Not this race. 140 Celebration Chase. Jean Bon, Jervy is 11-8, and Griantine, the Sandown course specialist, 5-2, follows the doing with Captain Guinness at 5s. Andy, kick us off.
Is it on balance? I'd sort of be edging towards laying John Bon. It's nothing against the horse. It's the price. 6-4, end of a long season. Popeye don't normally run them this late, does he? Unless he's got something that been particular for these races. Time may tell that he was taking on a real superstar in El Fabiolo, but as you say, Greenatine Sandown record makes him interesting. I don't think Captain Guinness is the worst horse either. And you can even give Editor de Digit a bit of a chance. I think at 6-4, I'd probably be looking to take on John Bon, but nothing particularly strongly. Not particularly strongly. Or it's a price thing, and at 6-4, I just think he's a little bit short. I'm just not convinced I'm not convinced that 2 miles or this trip is really fair. I think 2-4 is going to be more his trip in the end. Might just be a bit short for him. End of a long season. 6-4, short enough. You're not going to do yourself too much damage if you gamble responsibly, of course. Take John Bon on and have the other 3, which are, they're even I wouldn't include Fernando Sivila, but the other 3 running for you.
Yeah, Jack.
Yeah, completely agree with Andy. I'm quite keen to take John Bon on here. I think the trip angle is the main play. I think we saw at Cheltenham, he got beat by a class horse, but I just don't think he's a 2-miler. I think Aintree was, I know that the second fell and was never going to beat him anyway, but wasn't a strong race, and I don't think that was a massive test. As Andy said, I'm quite surprised he's running here, to be honest. And I thought Grenatine's had a couple of mediocre-ish efforts, but he loves the course. He won the race last year. I'd put them 2 closer together in the price. And if Grenatine holds up at sort of 2-1 plus, that would be the obvious play for me.
Yep. Jonas?
No.
What was that? Was that no, we can't have a chocolate, John?
Yeah.
Yeah. 215 Sandown, the Whitbread, where Andy's gone on the unexposed staying horse Revels Hill. I actually agree with Andy on that. That would be my bet in the race. If I'm playing, I'll have to decide. It might be more gin during the afternoon and watch Sheffield Wednesday get beat or something like that. But anyway, or they haven't kicked off.
More out.
Yeah, more out, exactly. It's a Revels Hill for me and Andy. Jack, John?
John, take it away.
Pumpkinhead is a fucking idiot. Frodham, right? Why the hell hasn't he gone out and got himself a nice £10 claimer, run this off 11-4 and watch it jump from stupid?
He's got one. She just doesn't claim £10.
That's the thing.
Apologies to all. That's me now banned from Twitter, I think.
It is. But you Robbie Dunn fans a lot.
Why wouldn't you do that, though?
Yeah, I agree.
Seriously, you know, I mean, this is pure sentiment. This isn't in the Arsenal's best interest whatsoever. Lugging 12 stone around there, stupidity. Not giving him a chance.
John, I agree. I think, like you said, because Alfred on jumps, I don't think it's a ride.
He doesn't need riding, does he? I mean, no. He's throwing that. No, that's my band off Twitter now as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think they've missed an opportunity. Like, to take the weight off and let it just jump for fun and jump them stupid. Yeah. Very good case.
What's he running off here? What mark?
160. He's one off 130.
Yeah, the last. Those over 150 plus are 0 from 24 in this race. 155 plus is 0 from 21.
Yeah.
So he's got a fair bit to do off 160.
Yeah, so there you go. John Lang spot on there. The 10 off, you know, with a good £10 lad or lass would have sufficed, according to John Lang. Got a point.
Would have won and claiming a winner already.
Yeah. According to Andy's stats, it backs it up. Jack.
3 points at 14. I love that.
Yeah, no, I was happy to row in with Andy's Revels Hill here. I couldn't knock that selection.
Yeah,
probably happy to take on the Fav. I mean, there was 3 weeks between these two races last year. Only a week this time. I know it was easy enough last time, but it's a big ask. You know, if that gets well back tomorrow, like I expect, it would probably be a place lay job for myself.
I mean, it would be nice to see Christian do it, because that's shocking news about his daughter. Leukemia, isn't she? So best wishes to him, because, you know, it's a yard I actually do like, and they've had a very patchy year, and it must have been difficult, you know, last week. I was pleased to see him win last week, but you know, best wishes to everyone there. But you know, obviously, if I won't be saying that if Kitty's like beats gets up beats.
That's it. You've got skin in the game, Andy. That's it. You have to go. It's your stable. It's you own Revels Hill for the day. So there you go. That's why betting's such an attractive sport, because that you feel like you own the horse. 250 Sandown is the Oaksey Chase. The Shark coming back after his Whitbread success, back to win this 11.08 Andy.
Well, he ought to win it on rating, shouldn't he? I think he's about £10 or £12 clear, isn't he? And he's got a somewhat motley crew to beat. I've never been a solo fan, certainly not an Eldorado Allen fan. He's been really disappointing. First flow looks past his best. McFabulous has, you know, it looked as, you know, he's always had his physical issues. Solo probably looks the one to most to do. Fantastic Lady, who I backed in the Topham, just got outrun by Bill Baxter. You know, the ground probably gone against that one. And then you've got Black Jerry as the outsider. I mean, to be honest with you, anything odds against is, I'm not really a backer at those sort of prices, but anything odds against, Hewitt ought to win this, shouldn't he? I wouldn't. Let's just say, when I'm always thinking about if I am something at a short price, I'm thinking, would I want to lay at that price? And no, I wouldn't.
No, I'm one of them. Yeah, it's no man's land for me, this, at the prices. I'd want sort of like 2 to 1 on the machine or something to get involved. Yeah. You know, for our darling Rachel, John. Have you had
on Twitter soon?
John, what were we saying?
It's really hard to look past Darryl and Rachel.
I'm just waiting for a Megan impression.
Well, you might get one on Sunday night, actually, because there's a big interview, isn't there, on Sunday Post.
Yeah.
Mr. Stott tells all about the driving force behind his career.
Yeah, on all fours.
Yeah, sure. I might find it hard to resist on Sunday. Yeah, I think Rachel will probably win this, won't she? She must be very relieved she's not having to ride one of Drax Raiders.
I think so.
Given his record this year.
Yeah, the Drax just not. I mean, you don't want to yeah, he's obviously terrible times there as well. But the drag's just not the notes this year, has he? Feel for him in a way. I wanted that Life in the Park to win today, but Willie's Jungle Juice was too much on Kill Cruet.
I sent you a nice picture of carrots this week. They were British carrots, so they'll work.
Yes, indeed. And there are several British carrots flying around at the minute, it seems. So we're fighting back. Jack, what were we saying about Hewitt?
Yeah, I couldn't knock him, to be honest, Lee. I noticed they pulled him out on Wednesday due to going at Punchestown, which I found a little bit strange, given
that it was too sticky.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit strange, but
wait till you get to Sandown then.
Yeah, strange enough. But like you say, there's such a golfing class here. I couldn't take him on. I wouldn't be rowing.
You don't like it sticky?
There's a lovely Findlater's duck liver pate with poached plum chilling in the fridge at the moment. So that'll probably be the play for this one, and walk the dog. There are other pates available.
If the dog gets a whiff of that, he won't want to be walking.
325 Sandown. It's the Josh Gifford Novices Handicap Chase, named after the great Josh Gifford.
No, I remember when they let Josh win with his last runner.
Not in this house. He's not.
Good cricketer was Josh.
So was I. Yeah.
Would you have knocked him?
I have as a very good friend of mine will tell you, I have a particular problem with Josh Gifford because he once let the door go in my face at Newbury many years. I waited 5 years to get him back, which I then managed to do with the same said friend almost at the same door at Newbury as well.
Yeah, that's behaviour like that.
And to that day onwards, I never backed one of his horses. And any race that's named after him, I always hate with a passion.
You've plotted that one longer than Papa Cocktail.
Dislike for you.
I love that story. I love it. Absolutely love it. Not because you got smacked in the yap, but it reminds me of like John and the Ginger Hitler. You know, it's the kind of behaviour that they get up to between them.
I'd have wait 5 years if necessary.
I'd have waited longer.
I would. Yeah.
It was a very long time ago. Difficult little race in the end. I'm never convinced about Captain Mathan in a finish. Quite like Hudson de Grugy. Glory Decathlon looks a little bit overpriced to me, and so does Mumbo Jumbo. It might be one of those to just fire a few darts into, but it's not a race I have a particularly strong opinion on. If I had to back a couple in it, Mumbo Jumbo and Glory Decathlon just look a little bit overpriced on the current machine market, but that's about as far as I got with this.
Good stuff. Jack, John?
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Right, move on.
I think that's the call to move on.
I'm the same, and Andy hates the race, so I never do that. So that's a good story from Andy. Right, the 345 at Haydock is the quite valuable £60,000 7 furlong handicap Spycatcher. Is heading the market at 5-1 from Biggles for Rafe and Ralph at 6-1. Jack, I'll come to you first. Any views on this?
Yeah, it's another tough one. I think a number of horses who probably found their mark. I mean, look at likes of Auburn down there. I mean, he's not winning this off 100. Tactical, probably the same. He's got to come down a few. I thought a potentially interesting one was Ross Colin. If it is soft, as it often is up in that part of the world, the territories should hand him in good position. First time off a wind up. He was potentially interesting, but yeah, there was nothing that stood out massively as a bet from my side.
Really? About 10 miles from Haydock as the crow flies. No, had no rain.
Okay.
Yeah.
How the fuck is it good up there and shit?
Yeah, 7.5 going stick. So Kirkland here might be in some stick. There might be 78 non-runners tomorrow there.
Costa del Northwest it is up here. So,
yeah. He might even be quick side of good. You know, like 7.5. I'm not sure that's good, to be honest. Yeah, well, you know what Kirkland's like. John, what we saying?
Shit house.
What about the race, though? Any of you?
full of shit houses. Broadman's had 2 straighteners. The mark's barely workable. If I had to have a bet, I'd probably play him in the place market, anything above 2.2.
I'm going to wait, to be honest, tomorrow, and I advise punters to do this. Just watch the first maybe 1 or 2 races at Haydock, see if you get an angle on what the ground's like. Again, like Andy said with Sandown, the opposite could apply with Haydock tomorrow, and it could be riding quick.
Stop watching the first 2. We're going to punt your nuts off on the second.
Exactly. We know. I know. Yeah, the old Papa for John. Right, Andy. Any view in this?
I sort of was going to try and might have a small play on the Shirts horse there, on Montasib. I know he blew out in the Lincoln, but he's got a good. The Shirt's got a good record in lots of places, but he's got a pretty decent record here. I just wondered whether you sort of forgive that run on what was really horrible ground at Doncaster, and the better ground might suit him.
Where's Tom Dale tomorrow?
He's over in Hong Kong, isn't he, for Dubai Honour on Sunday?
Right.
Okay. Well, and Andy, that second to one ease is very good form.
I just wonder if the sort of grounder might suit him a little bit better. I don't think it's any problem dropping down to 7 furlongs either. The other one that's been really well back down the bottom is Rainbow Fire. That would have been interesting if the price had held up, but again, that price has gone now. But I thought Montasib, if anything, but we won't need to do anything once John's Papa Cocktails won. So
must be down the pub, wasn't he?
And by the way, just to digress before we go on to the King Richard III to finish the show, the producer's excited because she's seen Mondomedge entered.
It's about time, isn't it?
His last entry was on New Year's Day. I don't know what Anthony's doing there, but he's decided to bring Mondomedge back out for the first of 28 starts by the time it gets
it's like the equivalent of a 2-year layoff with that one, isn't it?
He's giving him a break, John.
I thought you were going to say the producer was excited about Sheffield Wednesday and Moore had got the sack or something. But...
Oh, no, she would actually be more excited at that. But for now, it's Mondomedge. That's in her tracker, and she's saying she's worried about the horse. The horse hasn't run since, it's just poor Mondomedge.
It's going to be the pain of the playoffs for the Owls, isn't it?
It is. It's looking that way. I'm not going to watch any of it. It's
you might be playing Bolton. If you are, then you'd be over this way because it's just down the road from me.
I can't watch. I can't have the pain of that, Andy. I can't. We're rubbish. 305 Leicester, King Richard III. Used to be a listed race, now a handicap. They've upped the distance also to a mile. John's tipped in the race. Almobia 5-4. I can't argue with him. He's given a future pointer for Stouts, which is interesting. But I was in Almobia's camp. I can't really see anything that's probably gonna beat it, to be honest, under conditions. But I would say that going at Leicester's very bad. 3.8 might dry up a bit, but geez, it's bad.
That when that thing won by 50 lengths last time, was it that meeting that was on the Friday at the Aintree, wasn't it? Didn't the thing win by that Maxi Den won by 50
lengths?
I've never seen a horse. Well, I actually had a very, very small bite of the distances. Unfortunately, they cap it at about 12 lengths for the whole meet for the race. It won by, what was the second race was won by about the same as well, wasn't it?
Yes.
I've never seen a flat race won by that far.
Well, I said Leicester must be skint because there's there's only way you'd race on that is if you just need the money per race to run. I just don't understand it, and
I think the going allowance rating was the lowest that I'd ever seen on Proform. Where Simon does the going allowance on there now, and I think it was akin to some of the stuff that you see over the winter, like when it's really pissed it down at Limerick or somewhere like that, or Thurles or somewhere like that, really, really bad, and it was akin to those. I've never seen a rating that low.
Indeed. So Jack and Andy finishes off with. Do you agree with Almobia?
Probably. I'm going to have to have a dart at Wob because obviously he featured in beating the bias from Redcar, didn't he?
Yes.
I think he's out of his grade, but I'm going to have to. I do tend to back all of them to level stakes. So I think he's a little bit out of his grade, but you never know what can happen on the Leicester slop. So I should have for him, but probably save on the favourite and make a strong note of John's little tip for Aryan Power.
Good stuff. Jack?
Yeah, same here. I've just seen the Balding horses come out, which are obviously probably shorten Almabeer a little bit. I mean, he's an all-weather horse anyway, so I wasn't really worried about him. But yeah, couldn't knock John's selection at all. Balls deep.
That's it. It's balls deep tomorrow. It's Papa time, and you'll know what John will be feeling like at about 2:20 in the afternoon.
Is that $2,000 up there trying to back it at 216 Almabeer?
You never know. John's terrible. He takes it all. He's worse than Jimmy Tarr, but winner takes it all. Right, yeah, remember that one.
Now you're going.
Yeah. Right, that's it. We'll finish it now. A bunch of degenerates finish with the selections for the weekend. We hope you've enjoyed the show and you find our content useful. We're back on Sunday. Myself, Jack, John, and not Jack. Sorry, no.
Am I?
No, it's Chris. Sorry, I've got to give Chris credit sometimes with Abby McGregor. That's all from us. Bye for now.